hometown, where everyone hopes he will one day move back and play for Rosario Central again.
Now it's time to look at the NBA, and after all the teams played their 82 regular season matches, it's playoff time. The postseason begins on Saturday with some very exciting matchups as early as the first round. 16 teams are up, but only one will be the champion. Michael Friedman gives us all the information we need to be ready for the playoffs.
The NBA regular season finished with teams fighting until the last day to make it into the playoffs. The long and exciting road towards the NBA championship will be bringing some exciting matchups. Big-name players such as LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Blake Griffin will be looking to show their dominance and set themselves apart from the all-time greats. Beginning in the East, the conference playoff matchups feature the #1 seed Atlanta Hawks versus the 8th seeded Brooklyn Nets, the 2nd seeded Cleveland Cavaliers against the #7 Boston Celtics, the Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks, and finally the Toronto Raptors against the Washington Wizards. The Eastern Conference has been dominated this season by the Atlanta Hawks, who's hoping to make history this year. The Hawks have spent 46 years in Atlanta and never reached the conference finals. The team finished the regular season with 60 wins and 22 losses and will now take on the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets were very happy to clinch the 8th spot after winning their final game along with the help of the Memphis Grizzlies knocking out the Indiana Pacers. Despite all the efforts by Paul George, who returned from injury, it wasn't enough to lift his team to the playoffs. The second team in the East will be showcasing one of the biggest superstars in the league. LeBron James came back from Miami to Cleveland in hopes of capturing a championship ring with his first love. The Cavaliers, under Israeli coach David Blatt, will take on the Boston Celtics in the 2-7 showdown. The season series between the two teams was tied at 2 games apiece, and the Celtics will be looking to surprise the Cavs. And moving to the West, some exciting games include the #1 seed Golden State Warriors versus the 8th seeded New Orleans Pelicans, the #2 seed Houston Rockets versus the 7th seeded Dallas Mavericks, the LA Clippers against the San Antonio Spurs, and finally the Portland Trail Blazers against the Memphis Grizzlies. Golden State has the best record in the league, finishing the season with an impressive 67-15 record, which means they will enjoy home court advantage all the way. The top team featured elite three-point shooters like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. It will be a tough battle ahead for the Pelicans, who clinched their playoff berth for the first time since 2011 after beating the San Antonio Spurs in the last game of the season. Anthony Davis has been the leading man for this New Orleans team. Another exciting battle will premiere the Los Angeles Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs. The 2014 NBA defending champions have struggled more this season, but with all-star players such as Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, anything can happen. As the Spurs take on the Clippers, the talented Blake Griffin will surely be the go-to man if the LA team hopes to make a run in the playoffs. The battle for supremacy will be a long and exciting battle for basketball fans around the world to watch. So who will win the 2015 NBA championship? Only time will tell.
And with me here is the man who will not get much sleep from now until sometime in June, Danny Swibel. I hope you got a good rest this past week.
I'm trying,
Because
yeah.
Forget about that from now on.
That's right. I'm going bananas. You know how I go bananas at playoff
Yeah,
time.
and you should. Usually, this is where we speak of the #1 seeds. I'll do something different. I want to speak about the Clippers against the Spurs. I cannot find a favorite here. We have Blake Griffin and Chris Paul on one side, the veteran guys who just refuse to get old. Are there any favorites here?
I mean, this is the sickest first-round matchup to me. And we know the first round, and it could go either way, especially with these two Titans. I just feel bad for the Spurs because they finished the season winning 21 of their final 25 games, but losing that last game of the season, instead of finishing 2nd seed, they're now 6th
Yeah, they
seed.
had a lot to play for that last game.
And they're not even at home now, so it is going to be a battle of the Titans. Clippers perhaps have the best starting 5. Blake Griffin plays his best games against the Spurs, especially this season. CP3, assist leader, Jordan rebounding crown. So it's going to be a tough series, but again, Spurs defending champions. They are considered maybe one of the best Spurs teams since the 2003 team with David Robinson, with Kawhi Leonard. So I think Spurs could take it to them.
What a dynasty that is for the Spurs. Still in the West, Golden State 67-15. That is a very, very good record. And when you have these two guys outside, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, they can kill you from outside, literally.
Oh, these guys are brutal. The Splash Brothers are absolutely brutal, and they make it so easy. I mean, really, defenses cannot stop them. And actually, they're only the 10th team in the 7th franchise in league history to reach 67 wins, which is really impressive. I mean, that's up there with the 72-10 Bulls. I mean, that's quite a feat. They are just going to be ridiculous. 39-2 at home, and they have home court advantage pretty much throughout the playoffs, so they are going to be tough to be taken down.
But will they enjoy it? Can they take this? Because they'll enjoy home court advantage all the way. Will they enjoy it in the Western Conference Finals? In the finals, perhaps?
I could see them taking it to the distance. I mean, they were a little heartbroken about last year's loss because they were hot last year and they took it to, I believe, 7 games. This New Orleans team is tough because they've fought back the last 2 or 3 weeks to even make it to playoffs, which they kept out Westbrook and OKC, which is very lucky for Golden State Warriors. There. So I could definitely see it being a nice series, but with Steve Kerr, the coach, with his playoff experience as a player and now as a coach, I could see Golden State taking it pretty darn far.
Now, we can ask pretty much the same question about Atlanta in the East. They have a home record advantage all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Will they be there? Because, and then again, if they get there, it's probably Cleveland or Chicago. Can they handle that?
I don't know. This Atlanta team, they've rested a lot of their starters over the past few weeks, but they definitely haven't gelled when they have been playing. So they've been only about 500. They have recently had some problems. There was some fighting going on.
They're not as strong as they were, say, a month or 2 ago.
Yeah, so you want to go into the playoffs with momentum, getting to the second round, perhaps playing Washington, a team that really plays well in playoffs. The Bulls are happy to not have to face them first round. But then with Cleveland up there, with the Bulls team healthy, with D Rose back and Jimmy Butler doing what he does, Pau Gasol, it's going to be tough, I feel, for Atlanta to take it to the finals.
You mentioned Cleveland. No matter how we look at it, a team with LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, that's your big favorite in the East, even if they face Atlanta without their home court advantage.
Absolutely. It's a ridiculous starting 5. J.R. Smith and Love, we haven't even mentioned him. Cleveland is going to be tough. LeBron is considered maybe one of the greatest of all time as of now, and he still has a lot of playing ahead of him, and he's definitely going to be trying to get to the finals like he does most years he plays.
Well, he has been in the finals for the past 4 years in Miami.
It's going to be tough. I could definitely see, the favorites, Golden State with the West. I could see Cleveland in the East, perhaps for finals, but of course, I want the Bulls to make it up there, give them a fight.
I want the Celtics
Atlanta
to make it, so what?
Hey, they're in there, so there's a possibility there. They're a young, hot team, so anything's possible in the playoffs. As we saw last year, first round was crazy.
Yeah, so a lot to look for starting this Saturday. Danny Swayabel, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it for this weekend edition. Don't forget, you can watch this and every other show on our website at i24News.tv. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.